Good afternoon. I'm Mayor Tim Baldermann. This is the fourth COVID update video that we've done here in the Village of New Lenox. As of yesterday, April 4th, we have had 15 confirmed cases here in the village. That may not seem like a lot, but in less than 1 week, that number has almost quadrupled. So although 15 cases, you may think that's a small number for a population like ours, the rate at which it's growing, and a lot of that has to do with testing, is alarming and does show just how serious this is and how every community is being impacted. These are numbers that a lot of towns are seeing here in the Lincoln Way area. On a regular basis, I speak with the administrators at Silver Cross Hospital. They have over 70 cases of either confirmed or under investigation patients for COVID-19 in their hospital right now. You may have seen in the last week that the governor ordered local hospitals in Region 7 to take on prisoners from Statesville. Our hospital did take on a couple of prisoners. I was very vocal about that matter. I absolutely believe that every human being, regardless of who they are or what they've done, deserves critical care. My concern was that all of us, if we test positive for COVID but are not having critical care needs, are required to stay home in self-isolation. Prisoners, of course, can't do that. And so they were looking for a place for these prisoners that tested positive to go so they didn't infect prison guards and staff and other prisoners at Statesville. I completely understood that. My concern was filling up hospital beds and using hospital resources for that. Subsequent to those concerns being spoken about by myself and others in the medical community, the governor's office, as well as Statesville and all the region area hospitals, are working together now to make sure that critical care needs are being addressed at hospitals evenly amongst those in the group for those prisoners that need that care. However, the National Guard has constructed tents to be able to address some of those that just need to be quarantined. Again, I want to reiterate that everybody deserves medical attention, no matter who they are. We have a great deal of concern for the prison guards, for the staff, and for the other prisoners, but we have to make sure that hospital resources are not being used just for quarantine purposes. They need to be available for those that need critical attention. Today, I went out and spoke to all of our big box stores again. This is the fourth or fifth time I've had the opportunity to speak to management there. I'm happy to report that the managers of our local big box and grocery stores have been very responsive to our needs. You'll notice now that they are doing counts of customers in their stores. They have clearly marked social distancing guideline requirements on the floor. They have employees that are enforcing those, and they know that if they have any customer that's disobeying those guidelines and is not showing concern for others, that they can contact the village and that we will support them in their efforts to help keep the spread of this disease, this virus, down. We are asking you to please only go to the store if you need something. Only take what you need so those essential products are available for everybody. Again, we are still seeing hoarding done by some. Please just take what you need. The stores are not there just for browsing, just to be able to get out of the house. And most importantly, they're not a place to send your children. I understand with school being out that it's difficult for parents. The kids don't want to stay inside the house. They want to go out and play. They want to have a place to go. But putting them out in public spaces like that is not the answer. I know it's difficult. I have 5 children, 6 grandchildren. I know it's tough to be able to explain to the younger ones that they can't go out and do what they normally did, but it's really imperative that we do what we can to stop the spread of this virus here in our community. That being said, I'm getting multiple calls of people that are still sending their children on the playground equipment at our schools and our parks. By order of the governor, those playgrounds have been shut down. It's trespassing to be on any of that park equipment or playground equipment. The parks are open for walking and getting exercise, but not the playground equipment. Because people are violating that order, I now have to use valuable resources through our police department and our emergency services to patrol those parks even more frequently. That's not something that we should be wasting our time on. You should be making sure that you're taking care of that yourselves and telling your children they're not allowed to go there and use that. We are getting a lot of calls from residents as well about neighbors still getting together, hanging out in the streets, kids hanging out in the streets. I cannot stress to you just how serious this is. Again, I understand how difficult it is, especially with young ones, but we ask that you really respect those guidelines and not gather in large groups and not have the kids all playing out together on the street or in the neighborhoods. Getting outside and getting exercise, walking as a family, taking your dog for a walk, going for a jog, those are all good things to do. It's important to get out and get some exercise. But congregating in large groups, going to the parks and playgrounds where you're not supposed to, or just hanging out in stores just to get out, that's not the answer. You'll be asked to leave those stores if you're not there shopping for essential products. The trails have been very crowded. Although the walking trails are the jurisdiction of the Will County Forest Preserve, and we do encourage you to get out there and get exercise, we ask again that you not congregate out there or walk in large groups, and you respect the social distancing guidelines the best you can. Our police department is doing an outstanding job of keeping an eye on our neighborhoods and our businesses, as are our CERT volunteers working night shifts, keeping an eye to make sure that our businesses are secure and safe. I want to say thank you to all of our first responders, our volunteers, our fire department, our healthcare workers, and everyone else that's in an essential job, whether they're working at the post office, a grocery store, a gas station, a restaurant. Thank you for doing your part. I'm happy to see that most employers have provided you with masks or gloves and are maintaining that social distancing guideline set out for your safety and for the safety of those that are coming to your places of business. We talk about the physical impact of this virus, how it's attacking our physical health and well-being. Mental health and well-being is just as important. There are millions of Americans that suffer from mental illnesses, disorders. They have a difficult time with anxiety or depression. And in a crisis like this, it makes those matters even worse. Often people who suffer from those disorders or disabilities make their way to social media. They use that as a means to communicate. Sometimes it's attention-seeking. Sometimes it's just a way to deal with their anxiety or their depression. I would ask all of you to be kind. You never know what somebody is going through in their life. And when they're on social media, you may feel that they're being aggressive. You may feel that they're making illogical statements. Understand that people are suffering, and we need to be as compassionate as possible right now. If you are somebody that is suffering and you're not finding the help that you need, there are resources available for counselors, social workers, people who will talk to you via the computer in one way or another, whether it's on the phone or some other means of communication. If you don't know where to turn for that, you can always contact us here at the Village or again on our covid@newlenox.net email. We'll be happy to put you in touch with those resources and those people who are willing to help you. We know this is a difficult time for everybody, but if you are suffering from some disability or disorder, this time makes it even more critical for you to get help, and we want to be there to support you. If you are an employer or if you are a resident and you see someone that is clearly violating any issues and impacting the health of all of us, again, you can contact us here at the Village anytime, and we will do what we can to set things right. Finally, I want to remind all of you that when this is over, and it will eventually be over, it's not going to be a case where the floodgates just open wide and we go back to business as usual. Society is going to have to realize that we're going to have to slowly get back into the way things were before. And I'm sure there are going to be some permanent changes after what's happened here. But when the cases start to go down and we see some major improvements, it's not going to be where we're all going to be able to gather by the thousands again. It's going to be a slow ease back into society. So please be prepared for that. Not just here in New Lenox, but globally. People are going to have to slowly get back into their way of life. The more we do now, the more we follow the guidelines now, the easier it's going to be for us in the long run. As always, we'll continue to update you, attend to any needs that you have. We're doing the best we can. We're grateful for all of you out there that are doing your part to keeping everyone healthy. Thank you, and stay safe.